But powerhouse panel time right now. We start with the former Lieutenant Governor of New York. Betsy McCoy is with us. Best-selling author and political analyst Mark Halperin is here right there. Not a Tom Brady fan. He is a Vinny Testaverde guy, self-proclaimed. Former Deputy White House Press Secretary and National Advisory Board member for Project 21, Christopher Arps, joining us. Chris Arps.
You've given me a new job.
I know. Chris Arps, big fan of Kurt Warner and The Greatest Show on Turf, St. Louis. 2001, they had a 2-touchdown spread to beat the Patriots in that 2001 Super Bowl. What happened, Chris? What happened?
Well, what happened was the Patriots ended up taping the Rams pregame practice, and they knew all the first 7 or 8 plays that we were going to run.
They didn't even have VHS back then. That's been debunked many, many times over. You sound like Dr. Fauci right now. Unbelievable. Mark, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a Doug Flutie man, by the way.
I'm a Doug Flutie fan. You know, my dad has a box of the Flutie Flakes, which came out when I think he started playing for the Patriots or after he won at BC, and he has a box of Flutie Flakes, and it's like 40 years old. I want it.
I have a box as well. I have one bowl every month.
Well, Mark, you got to save it. It's a keepsake. Betsy, good morning. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
So Joe Biden, this was fascinating. So yesterday, and this is just, this is unusual, Betsy. So the president is doing what presidents do. They are consolers in chief. He was in New York and New Jersey yesterday. Hurricane Ida devastated the area. More lives were lost in the Northeast than were in the Southeast as a result of that storm. And yesterday...
No, as a result of the bungling of the political leaders in the North who didn't get ready for the storm.
I blamed a lot of that on local meteorologists last week, Betsy. I know you live up here. I live up in Connecticut, and I'm telling you, Mark disagrees, but I think they missed calling how severe this storm was going to be. It's done, you know, Sandy was a storm surge event. This was a rainfall and flooding event, and they did not prepare people properly for this, but that's...
Well, certainly Mayor de Blasio did not prepare people properly in New York City.
You can make that argument. I think the subway should have been closed in all 5 boroughs heading into this storm. But this was unusual, and I want to get your take on this. People were heckling Joe Biden yesterday as he was touring the storm damage about Afghanistan. Take a look.
Should be ashamed of yourselves.
Should be protecting pirates.
This is a republic, not China. It's sad. It's sad that America has come to this. It's sad.
And you know what?
She's absolutely right.
You have the right to do that.
It is sad.
Yeah.
It is sad, and as we watch now with 6 planes, chartered planes, on the tarmac, filled in part with Americans, and they are held hostage by the Taliban. This United States, the great United States, is now hostage, a supplicant to the Taliban to get these charter flights out. And here we have the State Department prevaricating, lying to us, a lot of double talk about why the planes haven't taken off, including the excuse paperwork, when there are migrants flooding the southern border, and not one of them has any paperwork.
Yeah, no one cares about the paperwork at the southern border. Mark, what are you thinking about? Is this a hostage situation in Afghanistan right now?
First of all, I had no idea Betsy had cousins who lived in New Jersey. It's nice to know that some of her relatives were able to speak out.
A shot across the bow there from Mr. Halperin.
I don't know. It just sounded a lot like Betsy in the modulation of the voice and in the substance of what was being yelled out. Totally disagree. Just sounded like Betsy to me. You know, we don't have great visibility into what's going on the ground, and certainly the administration is trying to get folks out. I think the problem is increasingly clear. The Taliban is
Mark. They're not trying. Mark, not one American, according to Congressman McCall, not one American has left since last Monday. Last Monday, 8 days ago.
They may not be trying competently, but they are spending a lot of time doing it. I'd say that speaks worse of the situation if they're trying and can't get it done.
Look, I have a tough time carrying the water for the administration at this point.
Up against the Taliban now.
Mark, all right. This is so. Yesterday, somebody asked Jen Psaki if this is a hostage situation. Let's play the soundbite. Then, Chris, let's get some reaction.
Is it a hostage situation? What's happening right now? with those airplanes?
If I had $1 for every time this was called dead, it's about once every few weeks. I wouldn't be that rich, but I could buy you a nice cup of coffee.
Sorry. I meant the planes in Afghanistan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. So that's an important thing. I thought you were talking about the Build Back Better agenda. No, that is not what we would characterize it as. Those were points. Those were comments made by a Republican congressman this weekend. So let me be very clear. We're in touch with American citizens. We're working to get them out. There are 4 who were able to depart over land.
The Taliban are also using the U.S. Embassy, the billion-dollar U.S. Embassy, as their headquarters right now as they introduce their new government and cabinet yesterday. Many members are on terror watch lists. Chris, forget about the semantics. This is a hostage situation right now taking place in northern Afghanistan.
Yes, 2 weeks ago, the president said that we were going to get every American out. That changed, and it said we're going to get every American out that wants to come out. You know, what's really disconcerting to me is you have the State Department yesterday that is bringing up concerns about the Taliban having an all-male government while we have Americans still being held hostage there. Those folks are hostages, and I think the situation is going to get even more hostile the closer we get to 9/11.
Betsy?
Well, first of all, I'm laughing at the concept of an all-male government. That is political correctness run amok. But also, the government of the Taliban is now in the hands of the former Guantanamo prisoners. How bad can this be? It is such a warning of what risk we were under in it. These are the people who planned and executed 9/11, and they are now in charge of the Taliban government. I'll leave it there. It shows how much less safe we are than before Joe Biden executed this evacuation.
Yeah, the nickname of the Taliban, of the Afghans' new president is Bandar the Butcher. I think that says it all.
Yeah, on terror watch list as well. Don't forget, 9/11 occurred during the last civil war in Afghanistan. The first thing we did when we invaded Afghanistan was get the Taliban out of Kabul. We now literally are handing them the keys to the embassy and all of our military equipment. Mark, final thought, then we'll wrap it up.
I think if the administration can't get its act together, this will not just be a political problem for them, but it'll be a historic problem for them. And again, they're facing an increasingly emboldened Taliban government, so it's not going to get any easier.
Let's quote unquote on the government thing. I don't think this lasts. Lindsey Graham said we're going to have to go back to Afghanistan at some point in the not so distant future. 10 seconds, Mark. Do you think that happens? Do you believe the senator?
I don't believe Joe Biden will send troops back. Whoever's president next might.
Yeah, might have to happen. All right, panel. Spirited conversation. What a way to start a Wednesday morning. We'll pick this back up top of the hour. Looking forward to that.